I would be lying if I said I didn't have a blast watching Kung Fu Panda 4, so here's my spoiler-free thoughts on the best and worst parts of the movie. Starting with the obvious is that Jack Black is still just so awesome as Poe, and the humor was hitting on all cylinders for me. He's still super funny as this character. His entire story in this movie is pretty much he's still the Dragon Warrior, but he's coming to terms with the fact that he has to pass that mantle on to somebody else to become the new leader of the spirit realm. But as much as I love Poe, I gotta be honest, I think the best and funniest characters of the entire movie are his two dads, Lee and Mr. Ping. They have this little side subplot that they go on throughout the movie, and every single time it cut to them, I was laughing out loud. A lot of people I know are worried about Aquafina because they don't like her in many roles, and I kind of gotta agree, she is very annoying as a lot of characters she is in Hollywood. The only way I can put it is that she didn't drive me completely crazy in this movie. Like, she does have some terrible Aquafina line delivery that just makes you roll your eyes. It's not as obnoxious as some of her other characters like her and Shang-Chi. I do think her character actually does have some really good moments that kind of balances it out, so she's just kind of in that mid-tier for me for this movie. She doesn't ruin it, but she doesn't make it great either. A big negative for me is there is no Furious 5 in this movie. We get one throwaway line in the first 5 minutes of the film to explain why they're not here, and that's pretty much it. Which kind of sucks because I feel like the only reason they're not in it is because the budget of this film is half of the other Kung Fu Panda movies, so I feel like they just didn't want to pay the stacked voice actors for this. It's another thing though, even though it's a negative for me and I would have loved to see them in the movie, I don't think it ruins it having them not be in it. Another major concern I see everybody talking about is the animation good in this? Because like I just mentioned, the budget is nearly half of the other films in the franchise. Especially after DreamWorks just pumped out Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate that looks like it was made in 2005, the visuals are so bad. I'm glad to say the animation is actually pretty good. Like, I think there's actually the best action animation in the entire series here. There was multiple sequences throughout the film that are actually really interesting visually. Like, is it a Spider-Verse level animation? No, but it is very solid. Now let's talk about Viola Davis in this movie because she voices the new villain, the Chameleon. Before watching this, I was a little concerned when the villain's main ability is taking other villains from the franchise's powers. I was like, is this just gonna feel like way too many callbacks to the other films? It really avoids that for the most part, and the Chameleon on her own is a very good villain, and that's mostly because Viola Davis is just an awesome actress that even transfers over to her voice acting. A lot of people are curious, I know, is Tai Lung in this movie a lot? He actually has some decent amount of dialogue and a fight scene. Well, yes, the reason he's in the movie is probably for nostalgia bait, but like I said, when I was watching the film, it didn't really feel cheap. Like, I was just a sucker for it anyways. It was awesome to see him back, I'm gonna be honest. Another thing I'll say in the mid category is the story itself is just kind of basic. It follows all the beats you've seen in a million different movies before, but this movie is just carried by its character performances, so I didn't really even mind the story not being that great. But by far the best part of the entire movie was the song playing during the end credits. Make sure you don't leave and just listen to this absolute banger. Overall though, I give it an 8 out of 10. If you've seen it, let me know what you think.